Macau's BEYOND Expo is a visionary hub that has broadened my horizons. Engaging with international startup founders was an enlightening experience for me. Aerodean's drone solutions. Kamarul Mehmet of Aerodean, the world's largest enterprise drone firm, positions his company as a data powerhouse, providing critical solutions across various industries from energy to agriculture. During the winter time, we saw some footage on TV and internet, how those drones help knock off the snow or frost on telecom cables.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
the job used to be done by people, which is very risky.
That's right.
Now the drones can knock off all those frost on the cables, right?
Absolutely.
So your drones can do that, right?
One of the many use cases, yes.
One of many user cases.
Yeah.
Tell us about other, like how drones can help oil and gas companies or
Yeah, we do a lot of work in the oil and gas sector as well. One of the main issue over there is logistics.
Logistics.
You know, your previous panelists talk about logistics, yeah. So imagine a situation where most of these oil rigs are offshore, right? And in the past, they would use helicopters to send parts, to send supplies, even to send food from shore to platform or from platform to platform. So this, if you can imagine, you use the full-size helicopter, it's not cheap.
No.
So if you were to use our system, it's actually we can save over 67% of their costs.
Two-thirds.
Two-thirds. So it's a significant cost savings for our customers.
Tell us how industrial or enterprise drones are different from civilian-used drones. My cameraman has a drone that he'd like to fly over the head of Macau and capture the nice buildings.
Right. Well, that is how I started. I love flying drones, right? But anyway, enterprise drones are very different. Enterprise drones are a lot more safer, number one.
Safer.
A lot more safer. There's a lot more fail-safe into the drone. And number two is also it has different kind of sensors, various different sensors that enable you to operate in the dangerous environment, enable you to operate more efficiently, and of course, most importantly is some of these sensors allow you to see into the future. I think that's the most important thing that create value to us as well. So for example, for agriculture, if we use multispectral and hyperspectral sensors, we can tell the condition of of the plant in a farm, so that we can predict what problem it will have and what kind of yield we can get in the particular season. And when it comes to critical infrastructure, using all kind of sensors, we can create digital twin of those assets very, very quickly. So if you can imagine in the past, when people go up and want to inspect, say, a telco tower, it will take people or human 3 days, sometimes 5 days, to complete the inspection of one single tower. We can do this in as low as 5 minutes. The drone would fly, and it will just process this through our system on the cloud, and you get the report, you know, like what used to take 3 to 5 days to get. And you can imagine how groundbreaking this is as well.
What has your company, Aerodean, done right to lead such technologies or applications ahead of most drone companies around the world, even in Western advanced economies?
Right. Because for us, we are focused on delivering solutions, delivering value. We call this faster, better, cheaper, and safer. So to us, that is digital transformation. So that does not mean that we operate in every vehicle or every vertical. So we started off with one industry, then we go on to another industry. So for each industry that we are involved in, we have already developed all kind of data tech using AI and machine learning that enable us to deliver immediate value to our customer. So that's what it is. We use technology to help our customer disrupt their operation. So that's the differentiator. We don't do this because we have an automation in terms of drone. We don't do this because we have data technology. We do this because we have solutions that make business sense for them as well. And we have software platform that integrate with their ERP. We have software as a service platform that enable them to actually harness this value. And also, and this is most importantly as well, for us to actually use our former competitor, which is other drone company, we enable them, we give them access to this intelligence system. So it's almost like Uberization of the drone data industry. So anybody that have drone, they might not have the industry knowledge, they can subscribe to our software, and they can operate and deliver the same value
Become
to
a
the
platform.
from a platform. Yes, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Tell us about the application of 5G in your technology, because connection or data transform, data, upload and download is essential, right? On the booth of Macau's local telecom company, we see 5.5G, which can apply about 10 times the download rate. In the Chinese mainland, we have such similar technologies being applied to. The download rate per second could reach 5 gigabytes. It's amazing. It could be also costly too. So what's your, thinking on this apply of new transmission technology?
Right. Maybe I can share with you one of our main solution today, and that is actually for security and surveillance. We don't do military stuff. This is security and surveillance work. So I'll give you an example where a customer may have thousands of kilometers of assets, for example, pipeline or power line and all that. Now, these assets needs to be managed. So the alternative is to fly helicopters, or somebody would need to fly to drive their trucks. And you can imagine how costly, how slow this process is, right? So the alternative of this is, of course, to use drone. And drones are already a lot more efficient and fast. But I also have another better proposition. And that is, what if we leave this drone on site?
Leave them on site.
Leave them on site, so we do not have to go there anymore. So how does it work, right? So we put this drone in its own housing, in its own nest, we call it, right? So we put it there, and this is where 5G comes into the picture. So we are connected to those drones on site. That means that we can connect and we can control this drone from anywhere in the world. We already have this now. In Malaysia alone, we have like 2,000 kilometers of pipeline that have our drone in the nest.
Okay.
In Brazil, we are setting this up as well, and a few other countries as well. So this is groundbreaking, using 5G, right? So 5G, or some of it, we use local connectivity as well and all that. So it saves a lot of logistics of going.
Remote controlling?
Remote control it, but of course it requires regulatory approval, and we are one of the first company in the world that was given approval to do this on a large scale. So this is where 5G is actually very, very useful.
You talk about regulation. I mean, increasingly drone technology, increasingly big data technologies and data analytics technologies are linked with national security, necessarily or unnecessarily. How do you deal with this problem when you enter in different countries with different regulations and different level of sensitivity of drone technology?
Absolutely. So I'll answer your question in two parts. The first part is, how do we enter all of this country, right? So in the beginning, we went in directly. The year was 2017. So we went to Australia directly, we went to Middle East directly, then we went to America directly.
And it's okay. Yeah. We don't know what it is, but it's okay, right?
Yeah, and then even Latin America, we went in directly as well.
And
then we discovered two things. We can grow, and it was very exciting as well. Then it didn't, but we couldn't grow as fast as we wanted it as well because of security issue. You do not want, many of these countries do not want foreign companies to be flying drone in their airspace, right? So what we did is we started to acquire company.
Okay.
So we have a strong local partner. They are normally the top drone companies in their region. So since 2018, we have partnered or invested in 21 companies around the world. And now controlling stake, we take controlling stake, they became our agent that do the ground operation in those countries. And that is strategy that has worked very well.
You must have leveraged your own technology.
They leverage our technology, but they operate those drones in their countries.
I see. By acquiring stakes of local companies, and probably some controlling stakes.
Absolutely, but that's phase one. That's phase one. Yeah.
You bypass some of the regulations.
Absolutely.
Or local authority.
Regulations and trust.
Trust.
Yeah, regulation and trust. Yeah. But that's phase one. As I mentioned earlier, phase two is the Uberization. Now anybody can be our partner.
I think that has something to do with that Malaysia has less geopolitical tensions with those countries than probably China has.
Yeah, Malaysia is pretty neutral, so we are friends with everybody. We don't really have that geopolitical issue, but it's really a question of security and trust, where we need to have strong local partners.
What do you know about DJI?
Oh, they are our friend. We work very, very closely together. We use DJI drone quite a lot as well. I've been to DJI HQ many, many times. We still do use quite a lot of DJI drones as well.
Your smile says it's less about competition.
No, they're not. I mean, we are friends. We are friends. We are helping DJI grow as well. And I still remember way back in 2016, DJI actually showcased my video on their own homepage. 3 of my video on DJI main page. So we are friends.
But DJI is more in the civilian, right?
They are in the civilian. They are in the hardware space, which is not where we are. So I think we are complementary. I mean, we are allowing DJI to sell a lot more drones as well through our activities.
Okay, right. So you're complementary, I guess. Yeah. So tell us about the 3 core pillars: drone technology, data technology, and digital transformation. So are you evenly distributed on these DT, like a DT3? What would be the next focus?
Right. For us, our next evolution is where the data part and the digital transformation part will be the bigger chunk of what we do. When we first started, of course, the drone part is the bigger one. Back then, I would say this is 2017, 2018, time frame is where the market was less sophisticated as today. What the market is interested to do is to use the mechanization potential of drone, which is already very exciting. But now the market begin to realize the importance and the value of the data analytics, the ability to predict the future, the ability to be able to peer deep into their assets and know exactly what's wrong with them. And that has resulted in our customers saving significant costs in their operation. So now we are saying that we would not be able to operate, we would not be able to deliver value to our customer if it is really just drone services. Drone services is like the lowest value chain. The real value is the transformation that you provide to your customer. And this really comes from us not just knowing or having that drone expertise, which we do. We have more than 10 million hours of flying experience over the past couple of years, but also having the industry knowledge as well. So when we operate in telco, we know telco industry very well. When we operate in agriculture, we have agriculture experts in what we do as well. So we are, if you like, a combination of the like of, a consulting company together with a division that actually provide or roll out those solutions as well. Hence the drone, data, and digital transformation.
Nothing's unique rise. Carl Pei, CEO of London-based Nothing, has carved a niche in the fiercely competitive smartphone market with innovative design. Selling 3 million units in Europe and India, his background as a co-founder of OnePlus sets him apart, offering an alternative to mainstream tech fatigue. After you founded OnePlus, then you left OnePlus when it's already very successful and breaking into the highly competitive global mobile phone market. Can you show us your product? It's called Nothing, but it's actually something.
This is our new product. It's called the Phone 2A.
Okay.
And I guess the main differentiation is the industrial design. On the hardware, but also the software design. I think it's quite difficult to see from here, but a lot of people feel like Android is a little bit ugly, a bit difficult to use, so we really wanted to elevate the Android experience. On the back of our phone, we have a unique interface. We call it the glyph interface.
Glyph?
Glyph.
It looks like neon lights for me.
Yeah, it looks very futuristic, right?
Yeah.
So our idea here is like, how do you make people spend less time on the screen? By putting the phone down and having the glyphs activated, you can also see what's important without having to use the phone.
What kind of message or what kind of information can the glyph tell you?
It's got a lot of functionality. So let's say you order an Uber and you want to see the progress of the driver. The glyph will light up and as a progress bar to show you. You can set different lights for different people. So as an example, when your wife is trying to call you, you can see that it's your wife and you need to step out of the room. And there's a lot of features we're building on top of this. We also released the SDK for developers so they can also develop their own unique apps using our interface.
Okay. Carl, you have successfully sold out over 3 million products, including nothing phones and nothing earpieces. You have also have watches and a sub-brand called CMF,
Yeah.
which stands for
Color,
material,
finish.
and finish.
Yeah,
Right.
it's an industrial designer language.
We're going to CMF later on, but what impresses me a lot when I learn about your company, Nothing, is that it's actually quite something because you successfully break into a highly competitive phone market globally, where the global phone market has already been dominated by big players. I don't want to name them because everybody knows what those brands are, but how could you break into such a competitive market?
Yeah, I get this question a lot. Friends, like, are you crazy? Why do you want to do this? Investors as well and media. I think it's highly competitive, but also highly not competitive, because in our industry, you only have a few very big companies, and they're all kind of competing against each other. There's no small company apart from us. We are the only challenger brand in this industry, and that gives us a lot of freedom to do things differently. Like, for instance, when I showed you guys the unique glyph interface, like the big guys, they're not going to dare to do that because maybe their users are not going to like it. They're trying to sell to everyone. So in a way, I feel like yes, it's very tough. You need to be big to get the support from the supply chain, but there's also very little competition.
Little competition for the challenger brand.
Yeah, there's no other challenger brand.
No other challenger brand for the past 10 years, right?
Yeah, the last company is Xiaomi, I think. They started in 2010, so it's been a long time.
But your company is not based in China or the US, but based in London. Why?
So I grew up in Europe. I'm a Swedish citizen, and I just found that there's a lot of creativity in Europe, but maybe there's not a lot of industry. So I also lived for many years in Shenzhen, where I saw that the supply chain is very mature, engineering capabilities are very strong. So our idea is like, how do you match that together? So all our design is done in, the concepts come from Sweden, and then we have a more commercial design team in London, and then we have
The design team in London, okay.
yeah, and then we have a more kind of closer to the supply chain design team based in Shenzhen. So how do you make everybody work together to create something more unique?
Right. I want to say a bit about the design. So this phone is something that I've never seen before. It's quite light, and the interface design is something. It's Google based technology,
it's
right?
based on Android, but
Android,
we've
okay.
redesigned the entire experience.
Okay. So I'm very impressed. I mean, who would have thought that after so many years of dominance of big brands, like maybe top 7, top 8 brands, there could be, I can't call you a disruptor, right? Because you're a challenger brand.
I mean, it's sort of the same thing, right?
Right. Okay. But you are still relying on some supply chains and maybe precision manufacturing power in Asia to support the product.
Yeah, we manufacture across Xi'an in China and also Chennai in India.
Oh, in India.
Yeah.
Okay.
India is a big market, so we
Okay.
gotta manufacture locally.
But talking about British design, because the companies are based in London, and you just talk about the British design team, do you draw any inspiration from the British? I don't know what style is the British design, but we get very famous consumer brands like Land Rover, Range Rover, Dyson. Actually, you have someone from Dyson working for you.
Yeah, our head of design used to be the head of design at Dyson.
Wow.
So I don't know what the British design language is. I think we just try to get the best designers. I'm not a designer, but I know what I like and I know what I don't like. So I see my role more as the editor, right, giving feedback. But the designers, they're way better than me at designing the product.
Okay, so tell us your product performance in your primary market, which is the European market and also Indian market, right?
Yeah, we're in India. We're actually available in a lot of countries. I think 37 countries.
37 countries.
And the market split is a little bit different depending on the products. So for our headphones, our earphones, US is the biggest market, followed by Japan. For our smartphones, India is the biggest market, followed by Germany. So it's a little bit different. But I think just like 2 weeks ago, there was an analyst report from Counterpoint saying that we're the fastest growing brand in India. I think the annual growth rate was about 150%. So it's good to finally be on the analyst radar.
Right. I saw a photo of you with many of your Indian users, your fans in India raising their phones. It seems very excited being your user, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time without any new entrant into the market. So there's a lot of interest around the brand.
Right. Also tell us the second biggest category of, maybe the biggest product category of your product, Nothing, is the earpiece. Why earpiece?
Well, the way we think about the product categories is that we only make very popular product categories. So the smartphone, as an example, like 1 billion are sold every year.
A billion cell phone globally sold?
Yeah. And the earbuds, 300 million.
300 million.
So very big categories.
Right.
And not only do they sell a lot, but also people spend a lot of time on their devices, right? So for our phones, people spend about 6 hours a day on average. So if we have the most popular products and the products that people use the most, then that sets a very good foundation for the future to build software and services on top of.
I want to ask a question. Maybe you've been asked a lot of times too, that you were born in 89, you're still very young, in your early 30s, and you already successfully built up 2 companies. What make you have this self-propelling force to push you ahead? I mean, many of the successful young people like you may just, half retire in your first successful company like OnePlus.
I'm super excited about the future. I think we're not even 1% of our potential. So this might sound naive, but I believe we have the chance to challenge Apple and Samsung. And based on where we are today, a tiny player in the industry and where we can go, I think there's just so much more we can do. And the most exciting part is that we all sit on the dawn of a new tech era. AI is coming. And usually, if you think about the past, right, when we were younger, Nokia and BlackBerry, they were the biggest brands. And then the smartphones came and they kind of shuffled away. But now the AI era is here, so there will be a lot of reshuffling and changes in the industry. And although we are small, we don't have as much resource as the bigger companies. But this movie has kind of been played in the past. When a new tech cycle comes, a lot of time it's the more innovative, smaller companies that come out on top.
Okay, what would your insights, industry insight of making smartphones and smart devices in your previous experience in OnePlus and other phone companies before OnePlus let you know, or allow you to have that one insight that make you so different, that enabled you to become the industry breaker, at least in Europe and South Asia?
Actually, I was talking about this with my team yesterday night. Like, in the last 10 years, all these people that tried to make phones have failed, right? What's the difference? Like, why are we still here? Why have we been able to launch 3 phones and soon more to come? I think the key is to not be naive. Hardware is very complicated as a business because the value chain is very long, from supply chain to manufacturing, quality, design, engineering, sales, marketing, customer support. You gotta do every part well to be in this industry. You can't just be good at design. You can't just be good at software. And I think that's the main reason for a failure for other people in the past.
And your experience before at OnePlus and before offered you all these experience and all these know-how and insights?
Personally, I'm not.
Or is it just you?
I'm not an expert in any of those fields, but I just know that it's very difficult. So when we started this company, we were very adamant about getting the best people for each of the functions. And it was actually very hard in the beginning. When we tried to recruit people, nobody believed in us. We even had a software engineer sign the employment contract and then only came to work for 1 day. The next day didn't come anymore. Because it was a small company, you don't know if it's going to be successful. But now, in the last 12 months, we've been able to get very good talent from the industry.
Okay, a crucial question, a critical question for any startup company is that one will get profitable because your slogan of business is make tech fun. What about make tech profitable?
It's very important because this industry is very supply chain driven and very cash flow driven. So we're constantly optimizing our numbers. When we just started and made our first products, the prices we were getting were sky high, right? Because the suppliers were like, I don't know if you're gonna make it, so let me just make some money first.
They're not willing to offer you receivables, payables?
No.
Yeah.
Gotta pay in advance.
Yeah.
What if I can't? What if you go bankrupt and I can't get my money back? But in the last 3 years, every year our commercials have been improving to very quickly reach parity with the industry leaders. We're still not there yet. I think in the next 2-3 years, we should be able to reach parity. In terms of the bottom line, it keeps increasing. I think this year we should be not EBIT profitable, but net contribution profitable.
Come again?
Net contribution, profitable.
Okay, net contribution profitable. Okay. And you recently tweeted that your cumulative sales of product reached 3 million, but it's about time to calculate annual sales instead of cumulative sales. What does that mean?
I mean, cumulative sales is like how much you've sold since you started until today. That's kind of cheating, right? Because other brands are always reporting the annual numbers. So if we want to be taken seriously, we should stop playing that PR game and just deliver the numbers.
Okay. It's not cheating. It's just a way of calculating, right?
It's a way of massaging the numbers, I think.
Massaging the numbers, but it's also a way of measure how successful or what kind of achievement had a startup company did. Because most companies just focus on one vertical technology, and they may have other cooperation, but you are essentially a hardware manufacturer. So you have more partners than people would think. You have software partners, you have the design partners, you have manufacturing partners, you have service partners. How many partners do you have?
And just think about the components. There's like hundreds, like 400 components in the phone.
400.
So each component, okay, some components come from the same company, but there's so many companies we work with, right? Just the complexity.
Use a count,
I don't have the count.
You had to have count. And so you think it's not impossible to enter the smartphone market 3 years ago because you think the current market is quite boring with mainstream product that enable customers to have the majority kind of functions, right? And then you broke into this market. Then do you think this market has enough barriers for other, breakthrough companies to come in? Is the barrier high enough?
I think the barrier is close to insurmountable.
Really?
For startups.
Insurmountable barrier.
That's why in the last 10 years, everybody who tried has already failed.
So you're the last challenger brand?
I might have to eat my words later, but right now I feel that way.
Okay, so we'll see. So the next big thing for Nothing in 2024 would be new products?
The main focus for us right now is to grow.
To grow.
Yeah, so this year is a big growth year for us. This new product that I just showed in the beginning, it's our best-selling product to date. And we have more products coming this year. Okay,
so you have Nothing phones, you have Nothing earbud, and now you just came out with a new brand, CMF. Tell us about why you have a sub-brand just maybe 2.5 years after you established the main brand.
Yeah, it's like it's a balance between the practical reality of this industry and our dream. The truth is you have to have scale. And CMF is a way for us to reach scale quicker. Because if you have scale, you get better conditions from the suppliers, better pricing, better working capital terms. And for consumers, there's so many different types of users out there. People like different things. Some people might not value the transparent design language. Some people just want a really solid, well-designed, high-quality product. So for different consumers, we're positioning the brands differently.
Voice profitable e-mobility. Friedrich Hajam's Voi leads micro-mobility in Europe with 100,000 e-bikes and e-scooters serving 100 cities with a profitable business model charging 2 to 3 euros per trip. Voi's e-bikes are manufactured near Shanghai. They are reshaping Europe's urban transport. We recently had a news about Voi receiving the latest batch of investments, 22.8 million euros. Tell us about this investment. Why is it your company so sought after? Yeah.
No, so Voi in total has raised $450 million from top European and top American investors. And we raised another 25 million a couple of months ago. But the thing now with Voi, we're 6 years in. We have e-scooters and e-bikes in more than 100 cities in Europe.
More than 100 cities?
Yeah, so we have 110,000 vehicles.
110,000
vehicles.
E-scooters or e-bikes.
Yeah. So we do a few hundred million in revenue this year, and we're profitable.
They're available in some places, but not mainstream. Why e-bikes in Europe?
Yeah, I think in China it's a bit difficult with e-bikes and the e-scooters, while in Europe e-bikes and e-scooters are very it's a great proposition to the users because European cities compared to Chinese cities are very dense. I mean, if you go to Zurich or if you go to Paris or London, it's very dense. Stockholm as well, where I come from. So the cities are really built for bikes, for e-bikes and e-scooters, and not that much for cars. And we think e-bikes is a very good complement to e-scooters for slightly longer trips. So e-scooters are perfect from 1 to 4 kilometers. E-bikes are perfect from, say, 3 to 10 kilometers.
So it basically satisfies the need for the whole traveling trip, right?
Exactly.
For an individual.
Exactly. I mean, in the definition of micromobility is, it's light electric vehicles for shorter distances. And most trips done every day globally are really short. Like 60% of all trips done globally every day are shorter than 4 or 5 kilometers. So it's a massive market. Just think how often in your day-to-day you have to go to office, to a meeting, to lunch. You do several short trips every day.
Okay, so in China, the reality is that most people use shared bikes to a subway station.
Yes.
Then they come out of the subway station and they find another bike, shared bike, to ride to their office or home.
Yeah, it's the same in Europe.
We see hundreds of bikes parked outside of metro stations, on their way.
It's the same in Europe as well. I think 50-60% of our trips are to and from public transport stations or train stations. So micromobility is a very good complement to public transportation, to trains, for first and last mile. Today we have swappable batteries on all vehicles. So we have operations teams driving around, swapping the batteries on the street. In the beginning, there was no swappable battery technology, so then we had to take the vehicles in and out pretty much every day. But now the battery technology has developed so much, so I mean, they can run for 3-4 days, and then we swap the battery.
Oh, wow. Swap batteries. I mean, we have swap batteries for some Chinese EV brands in China.
Yeah, like Gogoro.
Yeah.
It's like Gogoro.
Yeah, for NIO, if you know that brand.
Yeah, I know NIO.
Yeah, but that creates substantial cost for the company and making the company still at loss.
Yeah, but we're profitable now, so we're good.
You can do it. How much do you charge a typical trip on e-bike or e-scooter? Like for 1 kilometer or 4 kilometers?
So 3 euros, so 3.5 American dollars. What's that in Hong Kong dollars? It's 25, 30.
For a trip?
Yeah.
And people are happy to pay for that?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, considering the high living cost in most European countries. It's like a can of Coke. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're focused on the richest countries in Europe, so there is a strong purchasing power and willingness to pay.
You have a strong purchasing power, but how do you deal with a rising cost in general, especially in the latest few years?
I mean, we try to solve it through technology, to automate, to build better technology, so we don't need that much human touch in the operations. but it's still very heavy operations. We have a few thousand mechanics, field operations workers, so it's heavy operations.
Okay, let's talk about the hardware. You say you're unveiling, if I'm right, 3rd generation e-bikes and 7th generation e-scooters. Tell us about the features.
Yeah, so this is year 6, 7 for Voi, and now we are at our 7th, 8th generation of e-scooter, so pretty much 1 or 2 every year. And on the e-bike side, it's our generation 4. So now on the e-scooter side and the e-bike side, we try to think about the vehicles pretty much as sensors. So it's sensors and it's really a tool that should satisfy the needs for the consumers. And then we want to gather and collect as much data as possible from the vehicles to optimize placement, to optimize parking, to optimize the user experience, the city experience that you talked about, parking, safety, and all of that. So we really think about the vehicles as sensors. And now, one quite exciting thing on the new e-scooters is that we're adding computer vision.
You're adding what?
Computer vision. Computer
vision on the e-scooter.
Yeah, so like a smart camera. Because then we can solve things such as parking when people are riding on the pavement where they are not allowed to drive, and then you build machine learning models to in real time read that data and make decisions.
Okay, so how do you deal with the payment? In China, it's always scan.
Yeah, so you scan the vehicles, it's a QR code.
Okay.
And then you unlock it, and then you pay. You can be on a subscription as well, or you pay per ride.
Pay per ride. Okay, so it's very similar of what Chinese people do.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically like the Mobike of Europe. So yeah, we co-develop with Segway 9bot, owned by Xiaomi outside of Shanghai. It's called Zhangzhou.
Zhangjiang?
No.
Changzhou?
Yeah, 1 hour west of Shanghai.
Changzhou, okay.
Yeah, and
Jiangsu province, right?
Yeah. So we have factories.
Are you happy with what they do?
Yeah, I've worked with them for 7 years, and we're still friends.
Okay, so you keep innovate your product, keep designing them, and they keep OEM your product.
Exactly.
And ship it to wherever market.
Yeah, to Europe. Over the last year and a half, we have increased revenue, as I say, with 50%, increased gross profit 50%. We have reduced overhead costs with 50%. So we're a much leaner and meaner team now. I believe in small but excellent teams. Because it's easy to overhire. Look at many of the big technology companies in China and in the US. They hired way too much, and then people do stupid things.
You're very straightforward. Then next straightforward question will be, how do you compete with other brands? I also know that company like Bird also operate.
Yeah, so actually Bird went bankrupt as well.
Oh, really?
So most of our competitors have gone out of business now. So we're only really 3 players left. It's
they didn't make tough decisions at the right moment.
Yeah.
Cut costs.
Yeah.
Raise efficiency.
Exactly. That's what they need to do.
Aerofugia's future flight. Bert Guo from Aerofugia envisions ultra-low altitude transport becoming a reality in 3 to 5 years, revolutionizing emergency medical services, fast logistics, tourism, and travel with affordable flying vehicles. Now, with leading EV technologies, China has the potential to also lead this electric aviation frontier. Traditional helicopters have very large, what do you call that?
Rotors.
Rotor.
Yeah.
But your flying vehicle there has smaller ones, but
Yes.
you got quite some of them, like 4 of them, right?
8. Actually, 8.
Oh, 8.
Yes.
8. So why smaller one but more?
So it's kind of a new generation of aircraft design based on the new energy, based on the battery.
Okay.
Because if we use a motor, we can separate the propulsion system into like 6 or 8, not just 1 or 2 engine on the board. So we can get more redundancy. That's very critical for safety design. So you can see it's kind of 8 rotors on the aircraft, but actually we got, because every motor have 2 how to say, two wiring equipment. So we can actually we have 16. We can 16 power on the
16 power.
Yeah, 16. Yes.
Okay.
That is very enough for any kind of redundancy for the emergency situation in the sky. So we'll keep this kind of aircraft run safety level as the commercial jet, like the Boeing, Airbus, Comac 919, like that.
Important question here. When can this ultra-low flying vehicles commercialized?
You mean the time?
Yeah.
From my personal view, that will take 3 or 5 years to maturity. The
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5, because we have two things to do. That one thing is our product should get the license. I mean the type certification from CAAC, the authority in China for civil aviation. So we should get the license for its kind of a safety platform. The second, we should do some preparing for the operation.
Okay.
Because for the low altitude economy industry, as we see, there's three major paths in this kind of industry. So AeroFuture are OEM, we are manufacturer. So we need the operator.
So you're the manufacturer, you don't operate. You don't operate.
We don't operate.
You don't operate.
Yes,
okay.
we do demonstration, but we don't actually operate the company.
I see. So Macau is within the Greater Bay Area. Which areas or which regions in China would your flying vehicles be available first?
Okay, that is maybe why I'm here. So Great Bay is our first stage put our product into the market.
Okay.
Here's the first stage, because there's so many passengers need a rapid transportation method, like from here to Shenzhen. If we take a taxi, that will take hours, 1 or 2 hours. But if we use the eVTOL aircraft, that will take around 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Just 15 minutes.
From Macau?
From Macau
to
Shenzhen.
15 minutes?
15.
Wow.
Yes.
How many people can this airplane carry?
For our AE200, we can take 4 to 6 passengers on board. So that would be like MVP in the automobile industry.
I'm going to ask about the prices and rental fees later on. So the range of that AE200?
200 kilometers.
200 kilometers?
Yes.
And the speed?
Around 250, depends on.
Depends on the weather too, right?
Yes, weather, the altitude, and yes.
Okay, talk about altitude. You said ultra low altitude will this vehicle fly. So how low is the altitude?
Normally we fly on the level of kind of 300 meters.
300
meters?
Not
that high, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
300 meters?
Like helicopter.
Okay.
Yes.
300 meters, that's ultra low. So what kind of scenarios can this be used? Would it be used in maybe medical, emergency,
Yes.
tourism?
Tourism, emergency medical service, and the passenger transportation from the airport to the downtown of the city. That is the scenario.
But then if you fly from airport to downtown, you need a small area for this flying vehicle to land, right?
You mean mini airport?
Yeah.
Yes, the Verti airport. I will make an example. Our standard is the safety level is as the commercial jet. We take the flight from here to Beijing. We always say that civil aviation is the most safety.
It's on par with civil aviation.
Same level.
Same level. Okay.
Yes. So it's kind of very strict for us, but safety is very important for a new technology, especially for the transportation Yes, a
Yeah,
platform.
but
That will
so
be safety
emergency, do you need to wear something like a jumping
no.
gear?
Okay, no.
No?
If you didn't pass through the training of a parachute, that will be very bad thing. That will be very dangerous for you.
So there's
use
no
parachute.
need for parachute.
Yeah, because we have, as I say, we have a lot of design about redundancy.
Okay.
We have extra battery, extra motor, extra rotors.
You have 8 rotors?
Yeah. Even we have the airbags for the landing on the water, so keep you safe.
Okay, tell us about the cost of such VTOL.
Okay, so I also make an example. For the first stage of eVTOL, we are something like the 30% of helicopter cost. If we take a eVTOL here to Shenzhen, that will be cost about 300 or 500 RMB.
Yeah.
That in the beginning. Then we will get a cost down the curve because we based on the EV industry in China.
Okay.
So we will do things like we will cost down at to the level of like the 2 times or 3 times if you call taxi. Because the
land
ground,
cost,
I
the
mean,
ground, okay.
yes. Because the air travel will be 5 times efficiency than the on the ground.
Okay.
So just 2 times the cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to raise a question to the audience. We have limited audience, but it's okay. How many of you would like to fly such a flying vehicle?
Fly taxi?
Huh?
Fly car.
Fly
Yeah.
car?
Yes.
Yeah.
Common name.
If the prices are okay. How many are you would be interested? Yeah, many
Thank
people
you.
would be interested. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you said in about a few years, the cost of travel with such a flying car
Yeah.
would be just about twice the cost
Twice.
of travel on the ground.
Yeah, like the car taxi.
Okay. And yesterday, I think it's yesterday, when I
yes.
sit inside, you said 80 or 90% of this flying procedure would be controlled by AI.
Yeah, autopilot. Actually, it's kind of unmanned aircraft. But
Unmanned?
Yeah, unmanned. But we need a pilot to keep it security and
Okay.
safety.
The pilot is basically there to supervise the
Yes.
procedure.
It's a kind of ethic or legal issues.
Oh, it's a legal issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's almost like those smart vehicles, the L4 or L5 level
Yes,
driving.
Yes, yes. Because when this kind of, I mean, the AE200 go to the market, it's we call it SVO1 according to NASA definition. So it's kind of we call it simplified vehicle operation. So level 1 means you just need experience to fly the fixed wing or helicopter, but it's much easier than fly our traditional aircraft. That's a level 1. When we go into the level 2, you don't need to learn how to pilot a traditional aircraft. You just directly into the eVTOL aircraft, just cost you like the 2 weeks course.
Okay.
You can drive this kind, or you can
Has this
operate
standard,
this kind of.
has this standard of driving such a flying car being set up?
No.
Not yet.
We should keep it open because
Okay.
it's a new issues for aircraft pilot.
Okay.
Actually, we are working with the Civil Aviation Pilot University of China. We are talking about how to set the cost for the new generation of a pilot. I mean, as maybe you never
No, I haven't.
pilot. Yes, pilot aircraft before. When we pass into SVO2, so you can just learn how to drive, how to pilot, how to operate the eVTOL.
Okay, so just a few buttons and a few
Yes.
things to push
Yes,
and stop?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And we know that your company, Aero Fugia, is a subsidiary
Yes.
of a famous Chinese automaker Geely, which is also making big waves in the electric vehicle market.
Yes.
Tell us what kind of technology has Aero Fugia learned from the Geely or supported by Geely in making your product?
Yes. From a personal view, when we talk about eVTOL, it looks like an aircraft. But actually, if you look into the supply chain or scenario, it's more like our AV.
More like an EV.
EV industry. So supply chain, there's 17 or 18% of supply chain are same or similar with
Like
AV.
batteries,
Yes, so
power system. Yeah.
yeah, so you already know that from battery technology, how to charging, I mean the supercharging and the motors, that will be many cooperation, or it's kind of ecosystem for the new energy transportation platform.
Okay.
So we have lots of cooperation between.
Tell us how advanced or in what position does your company fit in globally in this eVTOL
Yeah.
industry?
There's actually there's two kind of a ranking in the United States. Our company is the only one can get into the top 10
Top
player,
10.
top
Okay.
10 player in the worldwide. Yes. So we actually focus on the cutting edge technology like the tiled rotors. So
What's
we're
that?
not the multi-rotors. We're not the
Oh, the rotors. Yeah.
tiled rotors.
Tiled rotors.
Yeah, tiled rotors.
Okay.
Yes, yes. When you look at the ranking for the top 10, maybe 7 or 8 advanced company use this kind of technology.
Okay,
Yes.
tiled rotors.
Tiled rotors.
Okay, so China supports the low altitude and ultra low altitude
Yes.
aerospace industry. How big is the future market potential?
Answer our forecast about industry. China is the biggest individual market in the world, who have the, 25% of global market.
25%.
25%. So it's very important for us to dominate the Chinese market. Then we go to overseas business.
So is it almost like the EVs in the air?
Yeah.
When China is
You get
doing
the point.
yeah. So Chinese EVs are doing well on the ground.
Yes.
Now, in about 3 to 5 years, Chinese flying EVs will compete very well in the air.
Yeah, good name,
Yeah.
Fly
You
EV.
bring the competition from the ground to the air.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Something like
Yesterday, you also told me a very interesting technology that the how can I say, the drivers or the pilots of eVTOL could literally see
Yes.
the flying routes
Yeah.
across the window. Yeah.
That is very important for, when we talk about safety, there's two kinds of safety. One is physical safety design, like redundancy.
Yeah.
Second is psychological. That means make the people feel it's safety. So we'll get a lot of information, use AR technology or mixed reality, MR technology,
Yeah.
to let the passenger on board to see the road. I mean the digital air
Digital
road,
route, yeah.
digital air road
Yeah.
in the sky. So
So
the
one
passenger or
piloting or
pilot,
driving,
yes.
there's a
Yeah, that
there's
is
a route
model.
in front of us,
So
right?
That is why the eVTOL is kind of a combine of different technology, including 5G or 6G for communication.
XR,
yeah,
XR, yeah.
Yes, and the new energy and new material. So yes, combine
Okay.
different industries.
Since you consider your company, Aero Fugia, one of top 10 advanced technology company of eVTOL in the world, any plan to target markets beyond China?
Yes. Maybe first step we should go to the Gulf country, I mean the Middle
Gulf
East.
country.
Yeah, they are looking for the new energy and the new things for the transportation.
Anyone has
And
already shown interest?
Yes, of course. We will do that later, because we should get the type certification from China, from authority of China. Then we'll go to overseas market. Then maybe from Gulf country to Belt and Road countries who need this kind of aircraft to do things like helicopter, to do the medical service or public service.
Macau's BEYOND Expo is a visionary hub that has broadened